You know, this is probably the most common problem I see. Whenever a subcontractor asks me to help them in a claim or making sure that they get fully paid for their work on a project, one of the problems that inevitably arises is the fact that they don't have signed change orders for all of the work that they did. I get a lot of calls when they're on the job actually doing work and they say, you know what, we have to do work, but we don't have a signed change order, so what do we do? Here's the thing, the typical commercial subcontract sets you up between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, you've got a series of statements that say time is of the essence in performing this agreement. And to back that up, there are a series of provisions that assess damages against you for missing certain deadlines, whether it's final completion, substantial completion, maybe benchmarks throughout the project. And you can be assessed liquidated damages. You could be assessed consequential damages or economic damages like lost revenue or lost profit. So on the one hand, you've got a lot of pressure to maintain that schedule. Now, on the other hand, you've got a contract that says that if you start performing work that is beyond your scope, in other words, work on which you actually need or are entitled to a change order, but you do that before you have a signed change order, well then you will have waived your right to payment for that work. Now that's a problem. Now, a lot of times I get to the point where I think to myself, geez, here's what I wish my client would have done. A lot of times I don't say that out loud because the horse and the barn have long since separated, and why make them feel bad? What I'll tell you, though, is that you have an opportunity in your contract to state that you will not be assessed any damages for delay arising out of the time you spend waiting for a signed change order. And there are a couple places in the contract where that appears, where you actually can put expressly that you are not obligated to begin work on an extra work item until you are in receipt of a fully executed change order. But let's say you don't have that. Let's say you have the typical rock and a hard place subcontract. You don't have a fully signed change order and you are staring down the barrel of delayed damages. So what do? Let me introduce you to the four most powerful words in the English language. This is to confirm. You send an email. And you also send notice in accordance with the notice provision in the contract, wherever that happens to go. And it's a very short email or a very short letter, but it says this. This is to confirm that on Monday, such and such a date, 2020, we are going to be performing X work on the site in accordance with your instructions. We do not yet have a signed change order. However, you have instructed us to appear on the site to begin this work expeditiously, and we will do that. As a result, we are doing that with the understanding that you are waiving the right to deny us a change order for beginning work without a fully executed document. Okay? Then the next part of it says, if we are not correct in this understanding and you want us to hold off on performing this work until we are in receipt of a fully executed change order, please notify us no later than the close of business on such and such a date. If we don't hear from you, we will assume that you are in agreement with this email, this letter, etc., and we will proceed as noted above. Love, us. You send that letter specifically acknowledging that you've been given an instruction, you don't have a signed change order, and the instruction you've been given bypasses that term. And you give them the right to stop you. Now, it's not as good as having a signed change order, but it's almost as good. And I have been before arbitrators and I have been in court defending that position. And each time I have had that letter, which I can mark as an exhibit, and I can show it to the judge, and I can show it to the arbitrator. Each time I've done that, the judge or the arbitrator looks at that, nods, looks to the other side and says, "Did you tell him? I mean, you got this, right? Did you tell him not to appear? Not to do that work?" And if the answer is no, or if they can't show where they told us to hold off, we get paid. Now, again, I would fully and strongly recommend that you negotiate the subcontract so you're not put in that position. But if you haven't done that and you want to play the hand you're dealt, this is to confirm.